I'm excited to share with you Nearpod as a tool that allows me to embed formative assessments into either PowerPoints or Google Slides that I'm ready to deliver instruction to, but then want to embed little checkpoints along the way. So think about Edpuzzle in the way that we were viewing video, but this can be embedded into slide decks. So students can be asked at a certain point in the presentation to draw something to show their thinking. They can respond to quizzes or open-ended questions. I can ask them poll questions, or I can ask them to collaborate on a shared Padlet board that's embedded right in here, or fill in the blanks. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to come over into Nearpod, and you can see where I'm back into my library here, and I'm going to go ahead and share with you this Nearpod informative assessment um, presentation. Before I do so, though, I want to show you that I created a Google slideshow where this is the content that we're going to be reviewing in Nearpod. So it's pretty easy to take a Google slideshow, or again, like I said, PowerPoint, and go ahead and upload that right into Nearpod. I can create my own lesson and then just click a button to upload, and all of those slides come into play. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. I had hoped originally that I could do this as a student-paced lesson, and what I discovered too late in the game was that the account that I had was no longer a premium account, and so that I can't do the student-paced lesson because I need to upgrade. I believe that the account is about $65 a year. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that I can't demonstrate that, but I'm going to show you that as a live lesson and what that looks like when I've got students in a classroom and I want to go ahead and demonstrate that and use this. So I would click on the live lesson, and then I would ask students, no matter what device they're on, whether it's their iPad or their Chromebook or their laptop or their phone, as long as they go to nearpod.com and put in this code, they can join, so they don't need to have a direct account. And what would happen is this slide would be on their device, and I could go ahead and control what happened for them to be able to see on the device, the content slides that I want to go ahead and share. So I'm interested in introducing you to this idea of peer instruction, but I want you to have both your hat on the content as a learner, and also thinking about Nearpod as an instructor. So I go ahead and I click next, and if you were in a live demonstration of this, you would see this on your device, on your computer, or again on your phone or your iPad. And really the emphasis of why we're doing this is because we need to make thinking visible. We can be doing some direct instruction and thinking that we're so clear about what we're presenting, but unless we check in with students so that we understand what they're thinking at that point, we might be going down a pretty tough path. I do like this quote from George Soros, this idea that we have to create a culture in our classrooms or our learning environments where the whole point is that we correct our mistakes. And so Nearpod allows us to go ahead and share thinking visibly, and then working with each other collaboratively and collectively to make all of us be better at understanding what's happening. So again, you got a chance to see that website when I first started, and here's the link to that website. I'd encourage you to go back and look at this, and there are more links in the module to take a deeper dive into how this tool works. But just for this moment, you're seeing the teacher dashboard. So what I would do at this point in the presentation, and again, if you could do this live, you would be responding to this, but ask a question, which is just a poll question. Have you experienced using Nearpod in your own instruction or assessment? If you were to respond to this, I would see this dashboard, live responses building off of that. And then this is really key in terms of Nearpod. I would then see over here in this corner a graphic display with a pie chart of the responses. And I could click share, and it would go out to all the student devices, so we could have a conversation about that. I'll demonstrate that again a little bit further. So this idea of peer instruction as a formative assessment strategy has been around for a bit. Eric Mazur, who was a professor at Harvard, physics professor, was experimenting with being more active in terms of his classrooms and doing think pair shares, but using technology to be able to give students feedback in terms of data, and then make more uh, informative decisions about how they were moving forward. So even in these large lecture classrooms, he was able to do some collective collaborative work. So the instructional sequence for peer instruction is basically an instructor asks a question. So when you think about Nearpod, a question could be asked, and then students would be responding via a poll or a multiple choice question individually. And if you got it from your dashboard view that most students get that, you could move on with a quick explanation into more instruction. Or if it looks like some people are struggling, you could then display that response in terms of either a chart or other ways to be able to show students examples of how they were submitting that. Ask them to turn and discuss with their neighbor what's going on in terms of the thinking. Ask students then to respond again, and then you could do a debrief as a full class. So Nearpod allows you to be able to do something like that because you can embed these activities as you go forward. The benefits of peer instruction, basically, because you can share data back with students, whether it's through a poll, the results of a multiple choice question, or even an experience of drawing, or, and I'll show you that in just a second, can be shared back with students, and so that you can unpack an example of what somebody's presented, and you can do that in a way that you don't have to say who's the submission, who that's from, and that becomes really interesting too. So we can talk more about that. But learning is active for students because they are engaging in these interactive experiences. They receive immediate feedback when you can share in that way, and you can go deeper in the knowledge because you have a chance to have conversations. Again, something that I could ask in terms of a multiple choice question would be with this group, what are the benefits of peer instruction? And then you could all go through this multiple choice question where you would say what not is something that is a benefit of that. So I could then get the results there and I could share that. You're seeing this teacher dashboard again. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is to go back out into a few of these videos once you're back into the module, where you'll see a teacher demonstrate what it looks like when Nearpod's being used, both the teacher view and the student view. The second one repeats a little bit of what the first one does, but it really, in this between 1:55 and 4:15 of the 6-minute video, shows that ability to share like I'm trying to describe now, but you can see that in action. One of the ways that I can also engage students is by this drawing tool. And so I can ask affective questions. Here's one. If you were again doing this with me, how are you feeling about using Nearpod as a tool from a learner's perspective? And what would happen is you would have these drawing tools and you would go in and you would circle where you happen to be. I just uploaded this image, and so any image could actually take this place. It could be an XY axis. It could be a math problem. It could be a map. And you could ask students, it could be a matching experience, and they would just have to go ahead and draw how they're feeling. And then that would all come back to my dashboard, and I could share those experiences as well back to the students. Finally, I can include an activity which is a collaborative Padlet board. So here it's asking if I want to improve the student comments before they're posted. I'm going to say no, and you can see now I've got this backdrop where I can ask a prompt question, and then students would go ahead and respond down here. So the question is, name 1 or 2 ways you could see Nearpod being used in your classroom. So I'm just going to put exit cards here. And then if I post that, it becomes a sticky note here. And this can then become a collaborative space to go ahead and build that kind of thinking together. I have an opportunity here to go ahead and share this collaborative board outside of this Nearpod presentation as well. So I know that this is not the best way in terms of having you, because I would want you to experience Nearpod, but this gives you a view into a dashboard and the way that this can potentially be used. In the module, you'll be doing a little bit of a deeper dive. So thank you for taking this tour with me. And good luck thinking about how to use this in your own classroom.